Alright, fellas. Solar Bald back at it with another epic VOD review. Today, we're going to be bringing back the legend, Zach Billiams. Today, though, we're reviewing a game in his main role, which is middle lane, and we're going to be talking about his epic mid lane Pyke gameplay. So, this is an interesting game because the homie is up against a kindred mid. So, I kind of want to start and just talk about Pyke in general. Pyke in the mid lane specifically. So, you're a pretty interesting champion, you know. You've got an interesting win condition mid because Pyke wants to roam to get kills for his team and give the gold to his team. But Pyke is kind of unique in the sense that a lot of these roaming champions have good wave clear. Good wave clear so that they can essentially roam wherever they want to go, whether that be top or bottom, depending on the game. Pyke doesn't have wave clear. Pyke utilizes a different sort of metric in order to roam, and that's to kill his lane opponent. Either he kills his lane opponent or forces them out, and that's when he can roam, because his wave clear is just not, it's terrible. So basically, why I brought this up is because I'm pretty sure, I did not see the draft obviously, but if Kindred picked after you, she picked to counter pick you, because you pretty much cannot solo kill this Kindred if she knows what she's doing. She's going to be the one forcing you out, and her ult negates yours. So this is kind of a problem with Pyke mid, as it's kind of niche. Not saying that Kindred mid isn't niche, but you don't need a counter as hard as Kindred to beat Pyke mid. Is basically what I'm trying to say. If you get thrown into a matchup like this, you kind of need to think about what your game plan is going to be. You know, you can't really kill Kindred. You can't shove the wave. So what are you going to do, you know? I don't really think you thought about this going in. I think you more or less saw the Kindred and said, that's fucking weird. You either thought it would be a stomp, or you just weren't even thinking about it at all. But that's important. What you want to be doing is thinking about how you can win, knowing what you're up against before the game even begins. So obviously, in a matchup, especially one as bad as this, you're going to want to roam, but you know that you're going to lose a lot for it. So you kind of have to take that into account. It's obviously, this is going to be really tough for you to pull this off correctly. The other thing you can do is try to get jungle pressure and kill Kindred that way, because solo killing her is going to be near impossible for you, since she's going to poke you out. I'm pretty sure you do kill her because I did watch the VOD before I recorded this time, so I could kind of get an idea of what I wanted to talk about. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to talk about Pyke gameplay too much in particular, because I have never claimed to be a Pyke expert. You are definitely better at Pyke than I am, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm talking more about fundamentals here. So one thing that I didn't bring up that I meant to is that there's really no reason to be sitting in this bush. The likelihood of them invading with a Shaco is like extremely low. But on the flip side, that's when you should be trying to invade. Let me check. Let me turn off Fog of War here. Shaco is all... I don't know why he's in base. He might have put a ward down and backed or something. But typically, if you can pull it off, which I think you guys could, you kind of want to interrupt Shaco's little box laying down thing to set him behind. If you just walk up and set off a box, it kind of fucks him up. It's when it's doable, when you have a decent level 1, you can pull it off. I think you guys could have, but That's okay. Bottom line is, sitting in that bush didn't really do anything. You want to be watching the river or try to stop Shaco's push a little, or leash a little bit. So, but yeah. So when I was watching this VOD, I noticed pretty much this lane went exactly how I thought it was going to go. It's going to be hell for you to farm. I'll kind of speed this part up a little bit. Sporadic or whatever. She isn't harassing you as much as she really should be. She should just be hitting you all the fucking time. I mean, honestly, when you go up, so you know she wants to poke you, for sure. I mean, that's how she wants to win this lane. When you walk up and you're hitting the minions for no reason, when they're not killing, when you cannot kill them in one hit, if you're just hitting them when they're at like half health, there's really no point for that, because you're just setting her up to auto you. You cannot challenge her push. I mean, there's no way that you are able to thin this wave out. Honestly, you want her to crash this into your turret, and then you want to call for jungler, because going up and hitting these minions to try to thin it out, to try to push back, isn't going to work in this matchup. You want these minions to come back, so she has to come up. Because if she was smart, she wouldn't be shoving at all. She would just be holding it in the middle of the lane, hitting you every time you went for CS, and then just rinse repeat until you either have to back or you get killed. Because her shoving like this, I mean, she's slow pushing, but her hitting the wave as much as she did is just, it's grief. It's grief, honestly, because it gives you a chance to kill her via your jungler. Okay, I see what you were trying to do there, but you actually wanted to back up, not move forward. You moving forward there is going to let her get this mark off on you. If you had just backed up and tried to pull her, nothing would have changed, just you wouldn't take that extra damage. So the thing is, this gank is like super grief. Like, you aren't going to kill her. There's like no way, and you have all these minions under your turret. You can't afford to lose that XP. So the thing is, you can't physically control whether or not he ganks, but you can ping. And this is a huge problem I noticed when I was watching this VOD, is that you don't ping. You like never ping. You'll ping like on your way or something, but that's it. Like, there's no enemy missing ping. There's no danger ping, nothing. You really need to work on that, because if you just danger ping him off here, you just farm and then he goes back to doing his jungle. But this gank is so grief, and I think you know it, because you're not really wanting to commit, but it looks like you kind of walk up because you have to, or you feel like you have to. You don't have to, but you feel like you have to. Just ping him off if you don't want something like that to happen. You don't have to do that. Pinging, though, like I said, is a huge problem for you. You're not pinging nearly enough. You're just kind of regenning under turret, doing your thing. You're too shoved in to really to do anything at this point. You're really just waiting for level 6 to happen. I think Kayn might have taken some of your XP or something, because you're still not level 4. I know she has way more minions than you, so you haven't killed them yet, but I think you should be level 4 by now. A little bit unfortunate. So I think you caught Shaco on that ward there. It's not I mean, it's not going to matter. Obviously, it can't gank you, but the ward there is a little pointless, honestly, because you're so shoved in. If you're going to ward, you should ward to help your jungler out and ward like here or like over here so that you see Shaco if he tries to invade. Warding this bush is really pointless. Also, while Kindred probably backed, you should have pinged MIA. You don't want to assume that and then Kindred pulls up bottom lane out of nowhere. So you see Shaco and you head on over. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here. That was really grief. I mean, you definitely should have stayed on this side of the wall. Kayn was going to solo kill him, so you should have been over here in case Shaco was doing that. Luckily, Kayn cleans it up anyway. You go straight for MF, which is a smart play. You have cooldowns? Can I even check that? Oh yeah, down there. Yeah, you have no cooldowns right now. No, you've got QE out. I don't know if you needed to flash. I think you could have EQ'd, but that's fine. I know this goes really wrong. That was, I think Yuumi exhausted because you have Ignite, yeah. So I'm pretty sure... I think that was a hold Q moment. Okay, missed the E. Yeah, just unfortunate. Yeah. Slightly grief, but it's okay. So at this point, you're really close to level 6, and you're really wanting to start roaming. That whole thing in the jungle was pretty interesting, but I think that was net gain, probably. You got, what did you get off that? A kill and an assist? It's not terrible. Kindred got 2 kills though. He pulls up for the gank. I actually gotta slow this down. My bad. I'm gonna go back. So here you're playing... I mean, she's still gonna poke you out. You really shouldn't be playing like that. You're hitting that wave again when you really shouldn't be. Only last hit. I mean, like I said, you can't counter shove this. So, she's level 6. You're level 5. Kayn is level 5. This is doable. You see Shaco bottom. Highly unlikely Garen is coming. This is doable, but like I said, kind of slightly grief. Because right. I think this was a problem too. I don't really know why you backed out. I mean, you literally cannot die in Kindred ult. Do you have cool? Yeah, you're waiting a little bit on your cooldowns, I guess, but I don't think you should have backed up to the bush there. Either way, you get that kill. I think you kill Shaco if I remember, because you get ult. Or maybe he Qs out. Yeah. So that worked out. Huge wave waiting for you. Bottom is really shoved in at this time, but there's not a whole lot you can do with this wave like this. Kindred's already going to be walking back, so she's going to get here pretty soon. This is really one of the weaknesses of Pyke mid. Because, I mean, what you want to do here is you killed Kindred, obviously, so you want to push this out and then go bottom. But you can't. You literally can't do it, because if you leave right now, Kindred's going to come back and just hit your turret. And if you left even earlier, you're really screwed because you miss all that XP. But now you have to sit here for like 20 seconds clearing this. Maybe even longer than 20 seconds. And then Kindred's just going to be back, and it's just a shame. So you go up to help with Scuttle. It's too late, but It's not really your fault. She catches you there because you're really far up, but she doesn't have ult, so maybe you get this. Oh, no. You're really low. Shaco's griefing. What the fuck? Okay. Okay, this is something I wanted to talk about too. I don't really know. I already talked about this earlier with your one ward that you put here, but especially with a pink ward, I don't know why you'd put this here. She's just going to push you back in, and then she's just going to take it and get free gold. Like, help out your jungler or your bot lane or something. Like, put a pink here, put a pink here. Maybe if you really want, I mean, there's no reason to have a ward here. You're never going to be pushed up past mid of the lane, because the thing is, if your wave is past the middle of the lane, you're gonna be roaming anyway, so you really don't need the mid vision. I was gonna say put it here, but like I said, you don't need it, so put it here, put it here, put it here, put it here. Do something. I mean, this is just a useless ward. I'm pretty sure it gets taken in like 30 seconds. We'll see. It's pretty quick. You're trying to play up on Kindred. You can't do that. I mean, at this point, you should really know that you can't do that and just stop. But it's whatever. She's just shoving you in constantly. Jungler should be mid a lot more, I think, but he's level 6 now, so he could do it, but... Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I noticed this when I was watching earlier. This was just greed. Like, I think you're looking at that minion, but like, is one minion worth all this? I mean, say even you didn't die, you still take, I know you heal a lot back, but you're still taking like at least 200 damage for one minion. And then you try to, I don't know why you're even, I guess you're trying to get this minion, but when her W's down, you know, she's just gonna Callista all over you. And then, oh, you still go for the minion. Yeah, like, man, you're just greeting so hard. Because, I mean, you gotta think, is one, I guess technically you got 2 minions. So, is 2 minions worth missing all of this XP from being dead, or being forced to play way back here because you're like 2 health? I mean, no. Like, that was just extreme greed. And then you pull back up. Like, you gotta just walk back, man. And you have E, you have, I mean, you even have W. Like, I don't know, why not just insta W right after you walk back and then heal up? If, I don't know. This was just a really big misplay. Jhin picks up kills. I don't really care about that. Kindred just keeps whittling away your tower. And now, you see where Kindred? She just left. You have no idea where she is. No MI ping. We saw her leave like down here into the bot side, and they're shoved up. You should be pinging that like immediately. You go bottom. I think the worst part is, I think you know. Like, I know you're duoed with Finn, and he's bottom, so maybe you said it in comms, but you are not duoed with Jhin. And Jhin is literally piloting Yuumi. So, like, I think you even knew Kindred went, because you went down here immediately, unless you're just going for drag. But just ping it. Just ping it. This was really weird. Like, I don't know where Kindred went. I wasn't looking. But you just kind of, like, sit here for a while, going back and forth. It's really weird. Like, they're under turret. Like, just either tell Kane to commit or just leave. Like, this is really weird. You're just missing... Teemo went mid for some... I have no idea why Teemo went mid. But... You should have gotten that mid XP in farm. Okay, I'm griefing. It's not on you. Okay. So now you're back after that weird ass little scuffle. Kane's coming into gank because she's shoved up. You kind of go melee range. I think your Q's down now. You just... Oh no, you do hit the E. Okay. Right here, I mean, you have her, bro. You Q her out of her ult, and if that... The Q alone... Well, no, because she's not going to take damage because she's in her ult. But I mean, you just Q ult right here. Like, you just pull her out. This is also unnecessary. Like, she'd be dead right now if you just did that. Yeah, she actually gets out. Yeah, I mean, you had all the time in the world to do that. So now you're stopping to hit the minions, even though Shaco is chasing Kane. Now you're so late, like, you could have, I don't know, man. You're really, you could have just followed right away, I think, and killed Shaco in the jungle, but I'm pretty sure you end up killing both these guys somehow. I have no, it looked, when I was watching this for the first time, I thought you were griefing, because I was like, what the fuck is this? But then you just kill both of them, I have no idea. Like, how do you kill them? What the fuck? Oh, what the hell? He just keeps running at you, dude. I don't even know what to say. Who are you up against, man? Okay. So that was literally the best way that could have gone. I mean, they fucked up so bad, but still, good job. Kindred's back. Straight shoving on mid. I want to look at your... Oh, the chat's in the way. I think that says 9 ward score. I'm trying to... Oh, there we go. Yeah, 9. That's not bad. I mean, I think you've only bought 1 pink. Okay, I take it back. 9 ward score. It's not amazing. It's not terrible, but it could be better. I mean, like I said, you're giving them ward score because you put your wards in really grief places. Kindred only has 8 for some reason, but yeah. I mean, you should have more ward score, probably putting pinks in your own jungle, warding your own jungle. Well, how many? You actually don't have a ward. I think you put it up in that bush up there when you were fighting Garen. But you should, you know what I mean? You should be putting more wards in your own jungle. In a matchup like this, at least, you should be helping your jungler out with your vision. So right now, you don't really have a place to go, do you? I mean, bot lane's going to reset. Their wave is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at this point, you know Kindra's going to be back. The lane's shoved up. If you try to hit the turret, she's just going to come back and probably kite you out. So I think I would just path bottom or go in the jungle and like try to get vision on the enemy jungler, or try to go, you know, hover around bottom and see if you can get anything there. But like I want to say you go and try to hit this turret. That's like the worst thing you could have done. I think it's just like so pointless. You finally got your moment to like roam like freely with the wave being pushed in, and you just kind of don't do it. Looks like Kane... No, he's doing Skull. Now Kane's looking for a gank. This gank is okay, not really. I would just... I mean, she has vision, so she sees it, actually. But yeah, this is just... I'm pretty sure there's like no way you kill her. Yeah, that was really bad. I mean, as soon as you saw the vision in that bush, you should have just called it, man. I mean... She had ult. I mean, there's just no way for you to kill her like that. Unless she's pushed up under your turret There's like no way you kill her. That's why you have to let her push in. They lose bottom turret. Yeah, I think going bottom or roaming bottom was the play instead of trying to hit that turret. I think you come here and try to clean up. I don't know, Kane just does it. Oh yeah, you get a hit in. Okay. So that was pretty good. And then right back to mid lane. She's got a level on, yeah, you try to fight her. Yeah, I mean, you can't fight her, bro. This, you were talking about this, I think, in the call or something, but this was so grief. Like, why do you fight this, man? Like, for one, she's so mobile. Like, you're not gonna catch. You can't catch Kindred. Like, at this point, you should already have figured out she's gonna dodge all your shit. I mean, especially with her W up. But two, you go over to this side. You E over to this side, regardless of whether or not she was going to jump over this wall, which she did. You don't see anybody, bro. When you jumped over this, you didn't see anyone on the enemy team. Like, nobody. Like, you didn't see bottom, you didn't see top, you don't see jungle. And then you jump over the wall. Like, you got to think. If Kindred is fighting you 1v2, it means one of two things. She thinks she can beat your ass, or she's got help on the way. So this was just so grief, because you should have known something was up, and you still just went all in anyway with Yuumi on you. You probably, yeah, both of you are going to get killed because of that. It's just so, like, that was just so silly. You shouldn't be trying to fight Kindred. Like, there's no point. You're never going to kill her. And it, like I said at the start, you know, your win condition is not killing Kindred. You can't, there's no way for you to do it. It's just impossible. Like, your win condition is bottom and top. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's going to be hard to roam in a lane like this because you got hard counterpicked by fucking Kindred mid. It's pretty goofy. But what I'm trying to say is you got to take those moments, you know, where you have a chance to do something and you got to do it. Like that, like when you were pushing into the turret that one time, you should have just went bottom, you know? Or in a time like this, I don't really know why you're even mid, you know? You should probably be side laning at this point. Just because if Kindred's mid, you can't match her. Jhin and Yuumi can match her and kind of, you know, help with the wave clear and make it so that she can't just get mid-turret. You should, like, be on the side lane, putting some pressure on, because you're never going to get caught, you know? There's no point for you to be mid at this point. If the lane phase is over, and then you go mid, you pick a really dumb fight, and you end up dying, you know? Like, it's just, all of it's just kind of silly. But yeah, you guys know they're invading your jungle now. Probably gonna get mid turret pretty, yeah. So fight breaks out. You mega grief by standing in the misfortune ult, but it's all good. You kind of suicide. Like, I get what I know what you're trying to do here, but I want to rewatch this. I kind of skipped the first part because, so you know they're all here because you saw them walk into your jungle. They all pull up, and I think you want to look for a hook into the turret, right? Yeah, I mean you hooked the clone, so. But okay, at this point, trying to fight them past Leona is just grief, I think. Because you just lose. It's Kindred versus Misfortune. I'm pretty sure you... No, Leona actually just walks out the turret and you suicide for her. Like, right here, I mean, there's like no winning this anymore. Kane's gonna go in. He's like weak as fuck. He's literally 2 levels down on Shaco. So, he's just gonna die after he pops out immediately. You suicide for Leona. But like, you gotta kind of be thinking in these fights a little bit. Like, what were you gonna do after you ulted Leona? I mean, you already saw Kane get like destroyed, and then you just like see, oh, Leona's low. You know, I can ult execute her. I gotta do it, and then you give gold to Kindred. Like, was it worth it? I don't really think so. You just get you and me killed again. Teemo's coming in. He wants it. You know what's really funny is that Kindred flash was so grief because she could have just ulted. But it's fine. I don't know. I think they're just gonna kill Teemo. Yeah, whatever works. So yeah, like, if you was Teemo on the way when you fought? That's the real question. 'Cause I wasn't looking for that really. So you guys are fighting. MF ult comes out. Teemo does not ping on the way, to be fair. So you had to be really looking at the map to see this. But you going in, like, what if you just waited? Like, had you waited, you were still at the turret, and you didn't grief right here. When Teemo came in for the flank and you were alive, then you could have tried something. But by suiciding here, Teemo griefs and, you know, he ends basically. Then he runs in and dies 1v2. But had you been there, you know, that maybe could have been avoided. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is you got to think about what you're going to do after you go insane. You know, you can't just ult in to ult in. And the camera's not going back on you. It's kind of epic. Okay. So now you're back up. And when you get back up, you know, what do you want to, you know, what are you trying to do? Because Jhin, he's going mid, right? We kind of already talked about this, but Jin's going mid. You shouldn't be mid anymore. You know, you should be in a side lane, putting on some pressure. You pray to God your team doesn't fight. And you try to draw one or more people down to your lane so your team can do something. Because, do you know when you're supposed to group in League of Legends, when it is acceptable to, like, 5-man group mid and try to fight 5v5? I wish I was in a call with you so I could hear your response, but I'll give you a second to try to think about that. When should you ideally be grouping in League of Legends? There's a couple different times. One is if there's a big objective. You know, this one's pretty obvious. If there's a big objective, you know, Dragon, Rift Herald, not usually Rift Herald, but Rift Herald sometimes, and Baron, you want to group, right? That's like the obvious one. The big mistake people make is on the next one. If your lanes are losing, right? Your lane phase, you know what gets thrown around a lot is people will say to group. That's actually not what you want to do when you're behind. The only time you want to force a 5v5 is when you are confident you will win the 5v5. When you are so ahead that you know you will win in a team fight. Because if you don't know you're going to win, why would you coin flip the 5v5? It's a 50-50 chance that you're going to win a 5v5. right? If both teams are even. If you're behind, it's even less of a chance. So if you can't win a 5v5 reliably, right? Why would you do it? And on top of that, if you can't win a 5v5, you need to make it so you can win a 5v5, right? So how can you make it so that you'll win a 5v5 if you're behind? You know, I'll let you think about that one for a second too while I take a hit of my vape that likes to spit on me. Take a sip of the Arizona half and half iced tea. Okay. So, when you're trying to get to the point where you can win a 5v5, it's pretty obvious, right? Your team needs gold. You're not going to get gold from forcing coin flip team fights, right? If you're side lane, you can farm up, you can get gold, and then you know what you do when you bring like 2 or 3 people to a side lane to try to kill you? They actually lose gold because now 3 people are fighting over the same wave trying to kill you. And your team is on the other side of the map, at the very least farming. And you're getting gold. Those 3 people that are bottom are fighting over 1 wave. And 1 wave of XP, while your team is catching up. So you going mid is actually baiting your team, because you're telling your team by grouping mid that you want to try to fight a 5v5. You know, and that's just the fundamentally wrong thing to be doing in this situation. You want to be getting some gold. You want to be, at the very least, you want to be getting your team some gold so that you have a chance when a team fight actually breaks out that you have to fight, like for an objective. Taking these team fights when you aren't sure you're going to win is just grief. So yeah, let's kind of continue on from that. See how it goes. Yeah, like this is exactly what I was just talking about. You know, you're just kind of sitting in the jungle. You don't really have an aim. You're not really sure what you want to do. And look at this. You're sitting mid, you know, messing around, and there's just a big old wave crashing bot, and no one's getting it. You could be getting this. You could be pushing this out, you know, forcing this. You get people to come over. The thing is, I think you guys want to fight this Rift Herald, but you can't. Obviously, you can't see gold in game, but you guys are down like 600 gold right now. And I think you have an idea, 6,000 gold right now. And I think you guys have an idea of that. I mean, if you just hold tab and look, the farm differences, you know, the kill differences, it's all there. I mean, you can see it. So you can't fight this Rift Herald. You have to give it. You know, that's just the cruel reality of the situation. And you're sitting here when you could be farming bottom, you know, trying to do something. It's just things like, you know, you're just basically strangling your own team by doing stuff like this. Like, what do you hope to get while you're mid lane right now? Because you're not going to get anything. That was actually my bad. Rift Herald was about a despawn, so... But that even makes less sense. I don't know why you guys are over here if Rift Herald isn't even going to spawn. At least then I could understand why you made the mistake, but now I really just don't know. Okay. This was pretty dumb, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, you shouldn't even be fighting. But let's just, you know, say you should fight this for some reason. You don't see anybody, and Teemo's top. So at best, it's a 4v something. I'm pretty sure Garen isn't here, but you don't actually know that. And this is, I mean, this is just terrible. Like, what are you fighting over right now, you know? Like, there's no way it's just Leona and Misfortune. And what's even goofier is you try to catch a Leona, you know? Like, it's not going to happen. You actually pull her into your Jhin. Like, the team fight's just all over the place, you know? Like, you shouldn't even be fighting this. That's besides the point, though. I mean, this is just played poor. Like, you pull her right to your Jhin. You know, you got to be thinking about... You got to be thinking about that when you're... Oh, Garen is actually here. Holy crap. So, yeah, this is so bad. I mean, you don't see the other guys. Shaco could be invisible right now, literally on top of you guys. And there's no objective to be fighting for. You're just giving him gold because you don't win the fight. I mean, there's no way you win the fight. You're so behind. Really bad misfortune. Leona actually mega griefed by not jumping on Jhin right away after you pulled her. I mean, you guys just lose anyway, though. I mean... Alright, and then it's just a slow... Yep. Shaco actually went top to deal with Teemo. And that's what's so funny, is that it didn't even... You guys lost a 4v4. I mean, Shaco didn't even need to be there. Teemo actually kills him, somehow. But I mean, why are you guys fighting that, you know? Because the thing is... I would tell you to ping off your team if you don't want to fight it, but you wanted to fight it. You're part of the reason the fight happened because you engaged on the Leona. You're actually the reason the fight happened. So it's like, it's bigger than just that. It's bigger than not pinging your teammates because you yourself have a flawed mindset on what needs to be happening. What needs to be happening mid-game. You're baiting your team into these terrible team fights. I think you're just in desperation mode. You don't know what to do. So your instinct is just group and pray. But that's not how you win a game that you're behind in. The grouping is like the last thing you want to do unless it's necessary to defend a turret or something. And even then you're not looking for a team fight unless you get like a pick. So you go mid again. I mean, like, there isn't much for you to do right now, admittedly. But, like, I don't know, get some vision. Did you buy a pink ward? No, you have a full inventory. You don't want a full inventory. You want a slot for pink wards. Because, I mean, you guys, you really need pink wards now because they've taken both your mid turrets. Your jungle isn't your jungle anymore. It's their jungle. You need pink wards in there, you know? You can't just be buying a longsword and letting them come into your jungle whenever they feel like. I mean, look, they're pinging your red buff. They're pinging on my way to your red buff right now. And you guys pick another fight for some reason. Like, why are you here, man? Go bottom. Go top. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no reason to be mid ARAMing it. And it's pretty interesting because your laning actually seems to be okay. Obviously, you got placed against a fucking troll Kindred mid. So, I mean, I can't fully fault you for not playing the lane perfectly, although you should have known how it was going to kind of go. You know, her ult was going to stop yours. She was going to poke you out with range. But the laning, surprisingly, wasn't the biggest problem. The laning wasn't that good because you kept trying to fight Kindred, and you weren't roaming when you needed to be. But the mid game is just so bad. After Kindred gets her lead, you just keep forcing this, man. You keep forcing these fights, bro. Vape's empty, brothers. So yeah, caught. I mean, you tried to engage on Leona. I mean, this game's over pretty much because you guys just kept ARAMing. You can't really side lane anymore. They just have all the pressure in the world. So I think I'll just call it here, honestly. Because the game's over. I mean, you guys can't come back anymore because you threw too hard mid-game. But, you know, basically, I've already reiterated my points like 3 times in this video. But I think the most important things for you are in the loading screen. Look at your opponent. Look at the jungler. Look at the bot lane, you know. And I'm talking about on both teams. You got to look and say, How am I going to play my lane? How much of a threat is the enemy jungler to me? How does he want to kill me? And how gankable is bot lane? You know, you want to be thinking about your matchup. If you're only going to think about one matchup, just think about your matchup at least. What are they going to try to do to kill me? Are they going to try to force me out of lane? Are they going to try to poke me? Are they going to all in me? You know, think about what you can do to counteract that. Can I even fight my laner? Am I going to be able to farm? How am I going to be able to get myself in a position to roam to whatever lane I need to roam to? You got to be thinking about these things before the game even starts. Because in this game, it looked like you didn't even think about it until you started getting poked when you were farming. And that's just too late, you know, that's too late to be thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, while this is going, I'll just kind of keep talking. So, you want to be... So for one, you got to be thinking a little bit more in lane phase. You know, you got to play a little bit more proactively depending on the matchup. But the huge problem here is mid-game. Like, you got to think about if it's a good idea to group and fight. You know, can we really win these fights? What are we going to get if we win a fight? Because a lot of these fights there, you weren't even fighting over anything. I think you just misjudged, like, oh, this is definitely a pick, but it was not definitely a pick. Stuff like that. Like, you try to side lane more. When lane phase is over, typically you want the bot lane to go mid lane so that they can clear the wave, so that they cannot just shove in your mid lane. That is when you want to go to either bot lane or top lane, depending on where your top laner goes. You want to be putting pressure in as Pyke, and then you move so fast around the map that you can actually just, you know, walk right up to a fight if it starts happening. And obviously you don't want to start walking when the fight is starting. You want to be looking at the mini map and being like, well, a fight's about to start, I should probably roam up now. But that's the important thing. You got to be side laning. You got to be looking, you know, be aware of what's happening on the map while you're side laning. You got to get people to come to whatever lane you're in so that your team can get an advantage off of it. Stuff like that. So that's just the biggest flaw I saw in your gameplay. Is definitely the mid game. So yeah, this video went really fucking long, probably. I don't know how long it is, but that's really besides the point. I tried to be a little bit more in-depth here. I tried to run... I looked through the video once, like I said, before I actually recorded this. So hopefully this video is a little bit better than my other ones. I hope that you can kind of look at this and maybe see where some of the issues lie within your play. You know, stuff like that. And I think something that's really important to note in this review is I didn't look at your teammates at all, man. I didn't make a single comment about any of your teammates and what they did, because your mistakes were so glaring it didn't matter what your teammates did. And I think that's really important to think about in every game. It's usually not your teammates' fault completely. If you didn't play like literally God, like if you were not playing like you were Faker, you can improve. And you were not playing like you were Faker. That's basically the gist of this. Is you, with problems like this in your gameplay, you can't be blaming your team. And I don't say that to be mean or, you know, I don't say that to be a dick. I'm just saying you're not going to improve until you really realize that you aren't winning these games because you aren't carrying hard enough. You know, you aren't giving your team an opportunity to win because of the decisions that you make, especially mid-game. So yeah, that's going to be this video. Peace out, guys. Hit fucking last hit that subscriber button, am I right? I'll see you guys probably soon. I don't have shit to do, so I'm kind of making epic videos and wasting my time playing League of Legends, so I'll probably be back soon. Alright, fellas, it was a good time. I'll see you in the next video.